So this is my super raw after birth, 8 hours after just giving birth video. I'm going to share some of the things that I used during my birth, some of the things that I wish I had during my birth, some of the things that didn't work for me and why, and things that worked for me and why. It's important to understand that I am not in the United States right now. I'm on the island of St. Martin, right? And it's a completely different system, completely different makeup of what you would expect from the States, right? So my birth, they would say that my labor lasted 10 hours because I felt contractions starting around 4 a.m. this morning. But to me, the labor, the labor started being like unmanageable. Like the pain really started kicking in around like maybe like 8 a.m. No, 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 maybe like 6 going on 7 a.m. And then as time progressed, of course, the contractions got heavier and heavier. I did not use an epidural. It was a natural labor. I did ended up getting a few stitches, but y'all, I wasn't even concerned about those stitches. I realized some things that I would take into account and I would take note of now that I'm done with labor. And I want to share some of those things so that other young women can be more prepared, or just women, right? Can be more prepared if it's your first time giving birth from like a completely different perspective. Just came to the hospital yesterday. I was having contractions, but I couldn't feel any of those contractions. And the reason I couldn't feel any of those contractions is because I have the spray bottle right here. Now this spray bottle is frankincense oil diluted with just some water. And in my third trimester, I had gotten so sore because I was already 2 centimeters dilated. Maybe about, wow, I want to say at least 3 weeks ago, before I gave labor, I was 2 centimeters dilated, y'all. And this frankincense oil right here, diluted in water, it helped so much. I started just spraying it on my pelvic area, and the pain went away. I don't know why people aren't talking about this. Maybe it's not healthy. I don't know. It's just essential oil, right? But I was able to start walking again. Before I used the frankincense, I was literally crying one morning because I couldn't get out of the bed and I could not get to the restroom. And my boyfriend came in. And yeah, I just started bawling, crying because I couldn't believe that I couldn't get out of the bed. It was hard to roll over on one side. This was 3 weeks ago before my labor. So yeah, the frankincense oil just really calmed all that down and took that out of the equation. I was able to walk. I was able to get out of bed. It was as if the pain wasn't even there anymore. So definitely get frankincense oil. You can dilute it in some water. You can dilute it in coconut oil. I just put it in a bottle and sprayed it on whatever areas was feeling sore. I didn't even have to really spray it every day. This stuff is so powerful. Another thing I used was lavender essential oil in a bottle, and I just spray it on my sheets, or like if I got too hot during the labor, I would spray it on my face or spray it on my hand and just like put it wherever I needed to put it, on my pillows and on my sheets and stuff. That helped so much. It just brightened the mood and helped me calm down. And it's just kind of like, it's not an inside joke between my partner and I, but it is kind of a joke. We just spray lavender oil when it's stressful. So when things got really, really, really stressful, the lavender oil came and helped. And throughout the third trimester, because there's stressful times in the third trimester, things would get stressful, or you just start getting stressed out about certain stuff sometimes when it comes to preparing for the baby, and just spraying the lavender helped us calm down. So that's just good to have around. The essential oil I wish I had was clary sage. Clary sage, according to what I've researched, is supposed to make your contractions get more intense, become more intense, but without the pain. And so I was asking my father to get some clary sage this morning, but my contractions got so intense we just didn't have time. So I wish that I had gotten clary sage, but it is what it is, right? Let's see, what else? Excuse me, y'all. This video is like rah. I didn't practice with the ball, the birthing ball. So it was actually really intense sitting on it. It made me feel like my contractions were getting way more intense. The best thing that helped me during my contractions, which is really painful, by the way. Oh my gosh. The best thing that helped me was labor dancing. And that's when you're literally like dancing with your partner. So my partner and I, when I got a contraction, I would just like wrap my arms around his neck and like give him a hug, and we would just sway back and forth, sway back and forth. That helped so much. And then I would breathe, and I felt supported. Maybe it was the oxytocin that helped from that as well. But man, he was really like a ride or die. He was a really good sidekick throughout the whole process. So I'm so grateful to my partner. I don't know what I would have done in this process if it wasn't for him. Now the next thing, and I threw it out, but I had a bottle of raspberry leaf tea. So raspberry leaf tea is supposed to speed up your labor. I even hear of some women not even having pain as much pain as they would have if they hadn't taken the raspberry leaf tea. I was not able to drink a whole liter of raspberry leaf tea. That was in my birth plan, to drink a whole liter. But we made the raspberry leaf tea this morning. I had 2 glasses of raspberry leaf tea the night before and the night before that. And then I had some this morning. I had a cup this morning. Then I drank some later on while my contractions were going on. Unfortunately, that was a little nauseating, I guess, because, and again, this is a raw video, so I'm not trying to gross anybody out. And, you know, if you get nauseated, you can get peppermint essential oil to smell during your labor to help. But, you know, everything did come up during my labor process, which felt like a good thing. It felt really good. It didn't feel bad, you know, and that's not something that how do you call it? That's not something that happens to me often. So, you know, everybody's different. Every woman's different, you know. And, but the raspberry leaf tea, this is why I think it worked. I came in and went from, I was already 2 centimeters for like 3 weeks, mind you, right? 2 centimeters dilated. Then I was 4 centimeters dilated. A couple contractions later, I then became 7 centimeters dilated. A few more contractions later, 9 centimeters dilated. They did have to pop my water, and once they popped my water, I could feel her coming down. Seriously, like, whoa. Now, I had to go to 4 different rooms. Remember, I'm not in the States, right? My ideal birth was a water birth at home with a midwife, doula, right? I had to go to 4 different rooms, which made me walk, but was really uncomfortable. I don't think I would have had stitches if, I don't know, I felt like pressured to push instead of feeling like it was time to push. But I realized while I was pushing that I didn't know how to breathe during pushing. Like, I had practiced breathing for contractions, but I didn't realize that breathing for pushing was completely different. I immediately called my doula, and I'm going to put her information in the comment section below. I immediately called my doula, and she helped me so much with breathing. She was there at the end of the process, seriously. Like, I've never yelled like that in my life. I don't think I've ever yelled like that before in my life when it came to pushing. And this is what I'll say. This is how I felt about the pain. I'm really not trying to freak anybody out, right? Because most videos are like, it's a wave, and it was a spike. It was a spike, if you ask me. But and it's not to freak anybody out. The whole time I was going through the contractions, I was like, oh, I do understand why women have multiple kids. Like, I do understand why women go through this again. It wasn't the type of pain, like, the pain looks worse on the outside. I don't know how to describe that. It's so crazy. It's like, yes, it hurts, and like, yes, like, I'm screaming bloody murder. But it's definitely it definitely seems worse on the outside looking in. I wish I could explain that better, but I can't. And I'm not saying that it didn't hurt for me. It definitely did. It definitely did. Or else, you know, I wouldn't have been doing all that, right? But it's just one of those things I guess you have to experience. And I didn't even film myself tearing. For those who are scared of tearing, I didn't even film myself tearing. I don't think I would have tore if I had my at-home water birth. It's illegal on the island, on this side of the island, to birth at home. It's illegal. So they will put you in jail if you actually give birth at home. They do not let you keep your placenta. I didn't even get to see my placenta. And just because things were moving so fast, I definitely had to make sure. Are you okay? Or she gets startled a little easy. I definitely had to make sure that I told the midwives what position I wanted to be in. I was not on my back. I'm so glad I wasn't on my back. At first, they had me on my side, and then I was able to give labor on all fours, which was hard as well. Like, pushing is definitely no joke. I definitely wish I took more time, more investment in understanding how to push in a hospital. I was able to get a hot shower, which was good. They offered, like, I have a shower here in the hospital room. The hospital room's great, but moving from those 3 different rooms, I went from being monitored in one room to going into the maternity ward, which I am in right now. This is the maternity ward, to going into what I thought was the delivery room. I guess it was the pre-delivery room. There's like this metal thing in the in the middle of the chair. I'm feeling like things need to be updated. Things need to be more together with certain monitoring equipment, because you know how Americans are, y'all. Like, let's just keep it real, you know. And then I went from there to the delivery room, and I was thinking about that epidural. If it was not for my partner, I would not have. I don't know, but he definitely kept things grounded and stable for me. I definitely suggest having somebody with you if it's your first time giving birth. Those women who do it alone, man, y'all are some real warriors. And then one thing I realized too while pushing is that I had to get mad to push, because I didn't feel like I was ready to push, but my body just started pushing. But I still didn't feel like I was ready to actually give birth. They have a saying on the island that you're supposed to eat a lot of okra and stuff to make the pushing process smoother. Obviously, I'm into holistic things, and that's something, holistic products work really well for me. Like my essential oils and the raspberry leaf tea, all that stuff has worked super well for me, right? So I wish that I ate more okra to get or did just more research into holistic things that you can do when it's actually time to push. Because contractions and pushing are 2 different things. And the way I had to breathe for pushing, it's like I wasn't supposed to scream. I had to breathe and then bear down. And that is a whole other like breathing skill set, right? Then like that's a whole different thing. So I wasn't supposed to breathe out. I was supposed to bear down and push. And I was not ready for that. I called my doula and told her, like, I don't know what I'm doing. And she helped me so much. And I ended up having to get angry at the end. I had to get kind of like, like mad. Like I had to go into this kind of like warrior type mode to really get the baby to come out. Because if I didn't, I would have been in labor for longer, and I would have been in pain for a longer period of time. And I needed to go ahead, and in my head, it was time to get it over with. And I had already been trying to push, and it was taking a little bit of time. It didn't take too long, right? But long enough for me to be like, okay, let me get this over with. And that's one thing about the experience, like I don't think would have happened if I was at home or if it was a water birth. I feel like I would have had more time to mentally and physically really push her out. And even though the stitches weren't bad, y'all, like at all, at all. Like I don't even care. I'm just so glad it's over type thing. But I don't think I would have got stitches if, you know, just if I was more kind of in the element that I wanted to be in. But for most Americans watching this, that should not be a problem, right? Because it's not illegal for you to birth at home. And you guys have to understand too, a lot of the nurses and stuff weren't speaking English around me. So my mom, which was fine because I'm trying to learn another language, so that's fine. But just having to adapt and all of that going on too was another factor involved. But she's here. She's beautiful. I'm fine. Everybody's okay. Hope this video wasn't too long, but I just wanted to give a raw video about my experience so far. And we'll go through what was in my birth bag and stuff like that, just for people who want more of a like less commercial type video of what to expect for birth. All right, y'all. Love y'all and bisous.